Indian television broadcasts a relentless narrative of global dominance. Every headline positions the nation, and specifically its prime minister, as a supreme peacemaker, the Vishvu Guru who holds the keys to ending modern warfare. But the reality of high-level diplomacy is currently playing out on a different frequency. As conflict escalates between the United States and Iran, the international community is moving rapidly to secure a mediator. Despite the domestic branding of India as the world's counselor, the nation actually moving into the center of the Middle East crisis is Pakistan. The U.S. president bypassed New Delhi entirely, placing a direct call to the Pakistani military leadership to broker the peace and manage the regional de-escalation. This marks a significant diplomatic setback. After years of efforts to isolate its neighbor on the world stage, India is watching as that same rival is legitimized as a vital peacemaker by the world's largest superpower. Measuring the success of foreign policy requires looking at the return on investment. When a nation spends millions on lavish international summits and photo opportunities, it expects to buy tangible geopolitical leverage. The Namaste Trump rally was the peak of this investment strategy. India spent hundreds of millions to fill a stadium for a visiting president, prioritizing the optics of a personal friendship over a formal treaty. That investment yielded little. The U.S. followed the event by imposing new tariffs on Indian exports and ignoring Indian security concerns regarding regional ceasefires. The disconnect is even more apparent in the Indian Ocean. India has spent years branding itself as the primary naval guardian of these trade routes, promising to secure the flow of energy. Yet, when U.S. and Iranian forces engaged in kinetic strikes within these waters, India remained diplomatically paralyzed. The self-appointed guardian of the ocean offered no response to the violence occurring in its own backyard. During that same period, Sri Lanka, a nation with a fraction of India's military budget, actively offered assistance and diplomatic support, earning the international goodwill that India's expensive rallies failed to secure. Indian foreign policy has become a series of aesthetic achievements. By prioritizing stadium optics over strategic positioning, the nation has allowed smaller neighbors to claim the spotlight during genuine global crises. Think of the Middle East crisis as an arranged marriage between two feuding families. At the center sits the mediator seat. India expected to take that seat, but was blocked by the very nations it sought to influence. Pakistan took the mediator's chair instead, gaining direct access to both feuding families. India's role has been downgraded to a messenger, sent to the periphery to consult secondary players like Russia. The result is a total loss of narrative control. India is no longer an actor in this conflict. It is a spectator watching from the wings of a stage it claimed to own. Beyond the damage to international prestige, this diplomatic sidelining creates a physical threat to the Indian homeland. India's economy depends on the stability of Middle Eastern energy. With Ukraine destroying Russian oil ports and the U.S.-Iran conflict threatening refineries, the supply chain for crude oil is facing a total disruption. These global failures manifest locally as panic. Fear of rising gas prices leads to hoarding, causing massive gridlock at petrol pumps and straining the nation's internal stability. The risk of internal economic collapse during a supply crisis outweighs the threat of any foreign missile. A panicking public can destabilize a nation faster than any external enemy. Managing a resource shortage requires a functioning administrative center, regardless of the political frustration aimed at the people currently occupying it. If the state's ability to distribute fuel and food breaks down due to civil unrest, the entire nation suffers. Preserving the nation's long-term goals for 2047 requires standing united during the immediate storm. Supporting the office of the government during an active crisis is a matter of national survival, not political endorsement. Democratic accountability has its own season. Once the economic lines stabilize and the crisis clears, citizens have the right and the duty to exact accountability for these diplomatic failures at the ballot box. Patriotism demands stability today so that we can demand the truth tomorrow. Support the country through the shortage, but remember exactly how we got here when it is time to choose our future.